What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 14:46 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Russia and from Venezuela. So what you're looking at here is a screenshot of a flight tracker showing a large number of Russian VIP and Doomsday planes leaving Moscow and heading to Siberia and the Urals. You can see 5 Doomsday planes here and a VIP plane. We have 3 Tupolev 214 PUs, an Ilyushin 96-300, and a Tupolev 214 SR. Now, the Tupolev 214 SR is one of Putin's planes, and the PU is one of the command and control planes for Russia's strategic and nuclear forces, and the Ilyushin 96-300 is a communications relay for Putin to his nuclear forces. So something big is going on. Large number of Russian Doomsday planes leaving Moscow late last night and early this morning. And we also have some major breaking news coming in from Venezuela. So Russia has begun evacuating the families of diplomats from Venezuela, according to a European intelligence official. The move, which includes women and children, started Friday. Now, Russia put out a statement yesterday denying that, but that's what the European intelligence official said, that Russia has begun evacuating families of diplomats since Friday. And we have a U.S. presidential Doomsday plane up in the air right now over the Midwest. It was flying with its tracker turned off for a while, and then it turned its tracker on over Illinois, and it's about to land in Offutt Air Base. We also have a sub-hunter that patrolled the entire eastern seaboard of the U.S., and we also have a nuclear war command and control plane that just took off from Patuxent River Naval Air Station. And Chuck Schumer announced on Monday he will introduce a resolution directing the Senate to take legal action against the Justice Department over its incomplete release of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. He said, "I am introducing a resolution directing the Senate to initiate legal action against the Department of Justice for its blatant disregard of the law in its refusal to release the complete Epstein files," Schumer said in a statement on social media. "The American people deserve full transparency, and Senate Democrats will use every tool at our disposal to ensure they get it. This administration cannot be allowed to hide the truth. If passed, the resolution would authorize the Senate to file a lawsuit seeking a court order forcing the Justice Department to release the complete set of documents." I'll tell you guys right now, it's probably not going to happen because the Senate is made up of Republicans, and at this time, no Republican in the Senate wants to vote against Trump. So probably not going to happen, but very interesting. And last night we had a large movement of military aircraft reported over the island of Trinidad, which is right off the coast of Venezuela. There were also several F-35s spotted flying over Puerto Rico, and there were also multiple MC-130J SOCOM planes over Puerto Rico. As many as 5 MC-130Js were spotted in Puerto Rico at the base that they're using over there for their operations against the cartels and Venezuela. And now the MC-130J is for special operations. It's for SOCOM. And we also heard reports last night from eyewitnesses up in Alaska that there were as many as a dozen F-22s taking off from Elmendorf. So I don't know if that was some kind of big exercise or if they're moving them down to the Caribbean for operations. Also, the USS Gerald Ford was spotted yesterday roughly 40 miles southwest of the Venezuelan island of Aves Island in the central Caribbean. So the Gerald Ford, the largest aircraft carrier in the U.S. military, is in the central Caribbean. And nearly 30 aerial refueling planes and 2 AWACS planes have been massed at the MacDill Air Force Base in Florida, likely in preparation for massive strikes on Venezuela. I'll show you guys some aerial footage of that. But 28 aerial refuelers, guys. That is just an insane amount of aerial refuelers to be massed at one base. You typically don't have more than a few, like half a dozen at most. You don't need 28 aerial refuelers unless you're going to war. Okay, and I'll show you guys the footage of that. And apparently Cuba is doing all it can to prevent Maduro from being forced from office, including surrounding him with security and loyal aides, with no one carrying cell phones or other electronic devices, because Cuba knows if Venezuela's gone, then they're next. Now, we have some very concerning information coming out of Sweden. One of their nuclear reactors at the Forsmark nuclear power plant has been placed into temporary cold shutdown after a fault was detected earlier yesterday. So this nuclear power plant is just north of Stockholm. It looks like it's about 50 miles north of Stockholm. So the number 1 reactor was placed on temporary cold shutdown due to a fault. And I believe this is the second time it happened like that in Sweden in the past few weeks, or I think it was like 2-3 months ago that happened. And we have some very concerning news coming out of China. China expects to be able to fight and win a war on Taiwan by the end of 2027, according to a recent draft report by the Pentagon, with Beijing refining its military options to take Taiwan by quote-unquote brute force, adding that one option could include long-range ballistic missile strikes of 1,500 to 2,000 nautical miles away, likely targeting and presenting a significant challenge to U.S. forces across the Indo-Pacific. Okay, so by 2027, by the end of 2027, China wants to fight and win a war on Taiwan. And according to a recent Pentagon draft report seen by Reuters, China is likely to have loaded well over an additional 100 ICBMs into its latest 3 missile silo fields located near the Chinese border with Mongolia. And latest Pentagon and intelligence assessments state that China will have as many deployed nuclear warheads as we have by 2030. Okay, so that is very serious. Our number 1 priority right now should be up-arming our nuclear arsenal, our nuclear forces, because... And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP Shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP Shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video. Because we had to disarm ourselves due to the START treaty, which Russia was never in compliance with. We had to cap the number of deployed warheads at 1,500, and we had to remove warheads from all of our Minuteman missiles. We used to have 3 warheads per Minuteman missile. Now we only have 1, so we removed 800 warheads from our Minuteman missiles, and then we moved a whole bunch of warheads and missiles from our bombers, so we could really quickly up-arm our nuclear arsenal by just putting the warheads back where they used to be. Also, our Ohio-class subs can carry 24 Trident missiles each, and we had to remove 4 per Ohio-class sub. We have 14 Ohio-class subs that are armed with Trident missiles. And here we have the flight path of a U.S. Navy sub-hunter that was flying off the coast of Russia's Northern Fleet base in the Kola Peninsula next to Finland. Here we have a supply plane dropping off supplies to the U.S. aircraft carrier operating in the Caribbean. And then last night we had a U.S. Navy recon drone operating off the coast of Mexico in the Bay of Campeche near the Yucatan Peninsula. This is their favorite place. They've been flying here a lot the last couple weeks, almost every night. And then here we have a picture of all those aerial refuelers on the ground in MacDill Air Force Base. Look at that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I might have missed one. And then 2 AWACS planes, but this is just a massive number. Oh, there's the 28th one up there, upper left corner of the tarmac here. This is just, you don't have this many tanker planes unless you're getting ready to launch some kind of big aerial attack, okay? And NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says the current situation in the world is the most dangerous since World War II. And Sweden seized a Russian ship on the sanctions list known for arms exports. Wow. So Sweden seizing a Russian ship, and Norway is preparing civil defense plans for areas close to the Russian border. Authorities and the Norwegian Armed Forces are conducting a risk assessment in border areas, particularly in the municipalities of Tromsø, Finnmark, and Sør-Varanger. Now, Tromsø, if you guys are not aware, there's a U.S. Navy base there, and Finnmark is up in northern Norway, right on the border of Russia and Finland, and I'm not sure where Sør-Varanger is, but in these regions, local authorities have already begun preparations for a possible organized evacuation, which will involve registering displaced persons and providing them with housing. It is also noted that updating and detailing evacuation plans will become one of the priority areas of work for Norway's civil protection in 2026. Okay, priority areas of work. Evacuation plans, guys. They wouldn't be doing that if they didn't have a reason. And Ukraine's military intelligence says 2 Russian fighter jets, a Sukhoi 30 and a Sukhoi 27, were disabled in a sabotage operation in a military airbase near Lipetsk in Russia. The aircraft were set on fire inside a hangar after weeks of planning, with estimated losses of up to $100 million U.S. And the Finnish president said, I don't think that Russia has changed its aim, which is basically to destroy the existence of Ukraine. And a large drone was found crashed in a forest in central Romania over the weekend. And the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, confirmed on Sunday plans to build a new, larger, and more modern aircraft carrier to replace the aging Charles de Gaulle. And Trump has resumed his demand for Greenland, stating earlier yesterday during the event announcing the Trump-class warship, "We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population. They say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat. Well, we were there with boats too, I'm sure. So we'll have to work it all out. We need Greenland for national security, not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. That is false. We need Greenland for national security." So what is Trump going to do? Invade Greenland? We'll have to wait and see, but sounds like he's really obsessed with it. And Israel warned the Trump administration this weekend that a missile firing exercise by Iran's IRGC could be preparation for a strike against Israel. And Netanyahu held security consultations regarding Iran ahead of his trip to the U.S. Israeli officials doubt Trump would give Israel the green light for more strikes against Iran. So if you're not aware, Netanyahu's going to be visiting Trump at Mar-a-Lago, I think before the end of this year, and they're going to talk about more strikes on Iran, specifically striking Iran's ballistic missile sites where Iran produces and stores ballistic missiles. Okay, they have hundreds of these bunkers underneath the mountains in Iran. Okay, Iran is a mountainous country. It's all mountains. If you look at the map, some of these mountains go over 8,000 feet, and they're perfect locations to hide missiles and nuclear bombs, okay? And so Israel wants to go after those sites, and they said that that's their most urgent threat right now. And U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham said Hamas is not disarming, they're rearming. They're not abandoning power, they're consolidating power. That's what the military intelligence in Israel told me. That's what the IDF told me, our people too. So interesting. And the IDF chief of staff in a statement says the campaign against Iran is at the center of the most complex war in Israeli history. He says the IDF will strike wherever required, hinting at renewed operations against Iran. And Israeli Channel 12 is reporting that the Israeli army is raising its state of alert in anticipation of a possible escalation of the confrontation with Lebanon. Interesting. And late last night, Thai troops retaliated against Cambodian troops by firing multiple SR-4 122mm rockets at Cambodian military bases. So Thailand and Cambodia are still at war. And the U.S. Army has launched an accelerated modernization program for the Patriot air defense system aimed at improving performance against high-speed and complex missile threats, including systems like Russia's Iskander. The upgrade focuses on enhanced tracking and interception capabilities, strengthening overall missile defense effectiveness. Wow. And Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that talks between Russia and the U.S. in Miami should not be viewed as a breakthrough. So everything we're hearing is that these talks in Miami basically failed. And the peace plan for Ukraine right now is basically dead. And Trump announced that the U.S. will order a new series of warships bearing his name. These units will be part of the so-called Golden Fleet. Work on the construction of the first ship, the USS Defiant of the Trump class, which according to Trump is to be equipped with a wide range of weaponry, will begin in a dozen or so weeks. The president stated that the first planned units of the modernized fleet will be ready for service in 2.5 years. Interesting. And here's a picture of one of these warships. This is a mock-up that he presented in Mar-a-Lago. Okay. And finally, in case you guys don't know, I want to just show you some very important information about Venezuela. So if you can search this out for yourself, okay? But Venezuela holds the world's largest proven oil reserves, estimated at over 300 billion barrels, concentrated in the Orinoco Belt, primarily heavy sour crude. Okay, so Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserves. Okay, think about that for a minute. Let that set in, and then you'll understand why we're about to attack Venezuela. I know a lot of you guys are not going to like that, but this is about the oil. Okay, Trump wants the oil. We're not energy secure here in the U.S. We're still reliant on the Middle East for oil. Trump wants to have the Venezuelan oil under U.S. control, so the U.S. has energy security. And beyond that, think about what you need for big conflicts. You need oil. Oil is critical for large conflicts because you have to fuel all your war machines. Okay, so Trump recognizes this, and this is just another sign that we're heading towards some kind of big war, possibly World War III, in the next couple of months or years. Okay, but that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I will be back potentially tomorrow with another update, and I will have the 24/7 live stream going throughout the holidays, but I will be limiting my live streams, my live updates, and limiting the number of news videos that I post. I will be posting some other content, some hunting and outdoors content, truck content, shooting content, but these updates I will have to limit because of the holidays. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Wishing you guys a Merry Christmas. Be safe if you're traveling. If you're going to be out and about at any kind of parade or shopping, any kind of crowded public area, make sure you're aware of your surroundings. Do a little bit of research on Google Maps or any kind of mapping software. Get a lay of the land before you go to some of these events. In case there is some kind of a terror attack, you know where to go. You know where the exits are. You know where the choke points are. Okay, so just do some basic preparations. Carry an Israeli bandage, maybe in a fanny pack with your self-defense tools. If it's legal to do so in your area, you know, every city and every state has different laws. But if you carry a self-defense tool such as a concealed carry firearm, you should also carry an Israeli bandage as well in case you have to apply pressure to wounds. If people are injured in some kind of mass shooting situation, you can save people's lives because the ambulances and the first responders will take a good amount of time to get to where you are. And by being able to apply pressure to wounds, you can save people's lives, okay, and prevent major health complications. But that's it for now. Merry Christmas. God bless. Don't forget the reason for Christmas, which is the birthday of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And trust in Him and take all your stress away by trusting in Him. And until the next time, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 P's. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is NYPrepper Supply. Guys, NYPrepper Supply is doing a massive sale on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to use my link. It's in the description below this video. It's preparewithNYPrepper.com. So they're selling their 3-month emergency food kit at 30% off. Plus, they're going to throw in an additional month of food. So that's 4 months of food. And the normal price would be $944. And they're selling it at just under $700 for 4 months of food. And this food has a 25-year shelf life. And it's all packed into rugged, watertight buckets that don't take up a lot of space in your home. And the food is obviously nutritious, which is very important. for surviving any kind of SHTF situation. You can also use this food for camping and traveling. But use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get a free month of emergency food with your 3-month emergency food kit from MyPatriot Supply, all at 30% off, just $700 for 4 months of food. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get the deal, and the link is in the description below this video.